And hello, everybody out there. Welcome back to the second Let's Talk But No Politics OK presents This Week in History Review, hosted by me, Andrew Lenz. If anybody doesn't is not aware of this podcast or anything else, I'll get more to that at the end. But this is kind of like a little side episode that I do every week. And I put the video up on my YouTube channel. And then I have a time slot every Friday at 7 p.m. on Helium Radio. You can catch this little bonus episode podcast. But this just a little recap. This is just a thing that happens in pop culture history. I'm a big fan of pop culture, history, anything that goes around with it. And I try and find stuff that happened on that day or pop culture throughout history. This is for week of October 19th through October 25th. So without further ado, let's go. Let's see what's on the TV for pop culture history. Or, sometimes I put in some history stuff. So here we go. Here's our wonderful TV. Let's see what's on. Okay. October 19th, 1990, Dancing with Wolves premieres. Really don't have any tie to this. This is more of a personal connection podcast with a little bit of actual history. I don't have anything in this. I remember it was like one of the first VHSs that had two uh, two tapes with it. But other than that, I remember my mom making a big deal out of it, probably because Kevin Costner was in there. But other than that, I really got nothing that connects me to this. I just thought it was fun. It was a huge movie when it came out. I remember that, just absolutely huge. So that's why it was one of those things that I had to put it up there. Uh, it's huge in pop culture. So there it is for today in history. October 19th, 1990, Dances with Wolves premiered. So let's go check out the 20th. And here we go, little TV action. If you watch the video, you get to see the TV. Okay. Today in history, October 20th, 1995, Mallrats premieres. This is a movie that I definitely have a personal connection with. I love this movie. Every character in it. It is my favorite Kevin Smith movie. I don't, it's just so well done. Jason Lee's character, Brody, he was just amazing the way that he talked about comic books and he wanted to finish his game because the Canuck or the Whalers never beat the Canucks. This is still a time when the Hartford Whalers were still a hockey team for any hockey fans out there. I absolutely love Mallrats. From there's going to be some spoilers. Some seeing eye, the seeing eye where the guy could not see the magic, or I'm sorry, magic eye. Getting into that older age where I'm messing up things from my past, but magic eye, he can't see what he's going on or anything, and he's getting upset and everything else, and everybody's walking by and telling him what it is. Just the combination of Jay and Silent Bob in there. Uh, Stan Lee is in this movie. It was one of the first movies I remember seeing Stan Lee, and it blew my mind as a kid. Because Stan Lee is huge. He's Marvel. He is Marvel. Even though you have Jack Kirby's. There's Jack Kirby that did a lot of the artwork and everything else with stories. But when anybody in this world today thinks of Marvel, they think of Stan Lee. So Mallrats, great Kevin Smith movie. I suggest if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It is great. It's got a little bit of a love story. Ben Affleck is in it. One of his very early, Ben Affleck type roles. He kind of it's just a great movie. Just 100% great movie. Great nostalgia value looking back on all the things that are in there. Jason Lee is just, I think his character Brody is out of this world. Please go check out Mallrats if you haven't. So let's keep it going. Here we go. Got a blank TV. Next channel is Today in History, October 21st, 1992. Madonna's book titled Sex goes on sale. I never saw this book. I remember it being big on MTV and a lot of outrage behind it. That's one of the reasons why I kind of did this one, just because it it was one of those things that if the internet was big, it probably would have blown up the internet with the news factor behind it. Just because she did this, people called it immoral. People called it whatever it is, whatever your cup of tea, to each their own, whatever floats your boat. But this stood out to me when I was doing my research because of just how big of an impact it had. And it was talked about everywhere that she would do something like this. And wonder if a kid saw it. What if this happens? What if this? And it was so pre internet that it's so funny because it could be kept away from a kid. But now, some kid, unless there's parent controls, I know there's parental controls, but some kid could just be like, oh my goodness, here it is. But back then, there was a mystique, like, hey, did you hear this book? Madonna it has this book, and it's just called Sex. Oh my goodness. And I was probably anywhere between 10 and 11 years old, I want to say, at this point. So come on, 10, 11-year-old boy, a book entitled Sex. They're going to be like, wow, what's going on? And then MTV's talking about it. So this, I got to say, was pretty crazy for the time. It's one of those break the internet, trending type deal that would happen now. Let's move on to our next one. Here we go. Today in History, October 22nd, 2001, Grand Theft Auto 3 was released. This is the first Grand Theft Auto game I ever played. I had never played Grand Theft Auto 1. GTA 2, did not play it. But when this game came out, I believe it was, PlayStation 2. So the graphics were a little bit better. They were good for the time. They were good for the time. I've learned this over time with the PlayStation, that especially the PlayStation 2, what graphics were amazing to us back then are not so great now, but still, this has a great nostalgia value. I was pretty much out of high school at this point, so I definitely could buy GTA 3, no problem. It wasn't like a little hidden gem. I do remember playing this with my friend's little brother, and I'm like, hey, did your parents know? And they're like, yeah, it's not a problem. So we played this for hours, run around, beat people up, steal a car, shoot people, see how many stars you could get, see how many stars you could get away, cheat codes, drop the tank down. That was another great little thing going on with that as well. So to have this up there is great because this is like one of the first big time free range games that I ever played where you explored this world of Liberty City. It's been years since I played any GTAs. Liberty City, you go out, you do different things for different people. At certain points, you couldn't go to different parts of the city because you were in fights with the triad or the mafia or this group or that group. And you just do random different missions. You steal cars, you drive around, you can mess around with radios in the car. It was just a really fun game. It was probably more fun if you were younger. I was older, so it was like, yeah, okay, this is pretty much what I'm used to at this point. But not that I ran around and stole cars and did things with prostitutes or anything like that. I'm just saying this is definitely was up there with what was going on. in this changing climate of world and being able to do different things. The cheat codes were amazing. As I said, like you could drop a tank down, you could do all different types of things. This was just one great game, and I enjoy it. And I enjoyed it. I haven't played it in years. I don't think I've played it since Vice City came out. For anybody who knows about Vice City, so that is a great thing. So October 22nd, 2001, GTA changed video game history. And I also remember this being something that parents did not let younger kids buy. Like I said, I was pretty much out of high school. So didn't have a say in anything there. Go on. Let's see what we got now. Today in history, October 23rd, 2001, the Apple iPod is released. I don't think I got an Apple iPod until 4 years later. But the fact that you could buy something and put your songs on it and it held 10,000 songs and it was at the man of a fingertip, you did not have to burn CDs. Anybody who's old enough to remember that, you can make your own mix CDs, you burn them, you rip certain songs from a CD, or you use LimeWire or what is it, Kazaa, even though your computer would be so diseased by the end of downloading everything. This is one of those things that revolutionized everything, and I don't think a lot of kids understand the technology that they have now compared to the technology of the past. I've lived through making mixtapes, just having the CD cassette player combo and holding down, playing a song, and then gotta hit record so I can do this, or trying to record a song off of the radio, doing things like that, to burning your own CD, and then still having to find that CD mix. This is everything is at the touch, just was at the touch of your hands. And now today we have Spotify, which I own. And once again, what song do I want? What song do I want to listen to? What song is my kid listening to and I want to hear it, or anything like that? I listen to songs that my kids listen to just because sometimes they do sound good, but not all the time. But this gave us that real quick touch of a button or spin of the wheel or anything like that, and completely obliterated anything we knew today, from going back to recording off of records or recording off of the radio or recording off of CDs, mixtapes, cassette tapes, anything like that. That is what the Apple iPod did. And it's pretty amazing. I know it's kind of this itself is almost obsolete today because of smartphones and apps like Spotify and Pandora. So it's kind of neat to see how far we've advanced from, hey, radio station, play the song so I can try and record it, to, hey, can you just go on Spotify and check that out for me? Very cool. Keep it going. And here we go. October 24th, 1983, Inspector Gadget premieres. There is a story behind this one. There was many conflicting information about exactly when Inspector Gadget premiered. Many sources say September 12th. Some sources say October 24th. I kind of got into, I wouldn't say a fight, but I was telling this person, they were like, no, it's September 12th. Look it up. Look it up. I looked it up. October 24th. So it's very conflicting. But then the person conceded to me because obviously they did hours of research and did and found out that it was October 24th. I don't know how they found the Deke website or something, but they found October 24th. But there's many conflicting premiere dates. And that's one thing that I've found when doing this. There's so some of these older things because there was no internet and records get weird and lost and everything else. And there's European releases and then there's non-European releases and everything else. That information can be conflicting, but from what I found, and according to the person that told me I was wrong, and then said, "Oh, wait a minute, I was wrong," which was cool, whatever. There's a lot of conflicting evidence or conflicting information, but October 24th, 2014, 1983, Inspector Gadget premieres. Inspector Gadget was one of the very first cartoons. Getting past the conflicting evidence now, is one of the very first cartoons that I personally ever remember watching. Penny, Brain, Inspector Gadget. It's probably one of the reasons why I enjoyed Get Smart when I would watch reruns as a kid because it was the same voice. But to have these powers in a way, go gadget shoes or go gadget standing legs were pretty cool as a kid. But then he was so bumbling at the same time, just so bumbling, and that was your comedic element into the cartoon, which was cool, and I really enjoyed it. So, what other factors we got into uh, Doctor Claw? I know there's a conspiracy. There is some wacky conspiracy theory out of there that Inspector Gadget is Doctor Claw. They're the same person. That is why Inspector Gadget can never capture Dr. Claw and everything just wacky, like it's his evil alter ego. I always like little conspiracies like that added a little bit more of an adult element to the show and give your adult brain a workout, or you could just say that's BS and I just want to keep it the way it is. So that's really cool as well. This was a great cartoon. Great cartoon. And the movie with French Stewart, I was not that big of a fan of. Or I'm sorry, Matthew Broderick and then French Stewart. Not too big of a fan of each one of those. Those were a little bit not my cup of tea, maybe because I was older. It didn't remind me, it didn't have that Inspector Gadget feel. I mean, even as car transformed, that's how great this was. In a weird way, the robotics and everything else is crazy. There was a pilot episode where it's a completely different voice of Inspector Gadget, and that is weird. So if you're ever on the YouTube, check that out. I mean, that's what YouTube is so great about is you can look up this stuff and check it out. I try and I do I I don't have as much time to do research as I want to, but I try and get the most out of the time that I have. Here we go. October 25th, 1978. Halloween, directed by John Carpenter, is released. Jamie Lee Curtis makes her film debut. This is my favorite holiday Halloween movie of all time. I don't know if it's my favorite Halloween movie, but this is my favorite or whatever you want to say movie of all time. Michael Myers is great. I think the way that I don't want to sound too psychopathic, but the way that he kills, it's not Freddy over the top or Jason over the top in a way. It's more like he has a mission and he's just gonna do the mission. Someone gets in his way, he's gonna kill it. I know Jason kind of does that, but it's the way that he does things and everything else, and mystique behind him as well. It's crazy. This is definitely my favorite. Jamie Lee Curtis is a great actress, one of my favorite actresses of all time, and this is my favorite Halloween type movie. It's really great. It's well done. I think it still stands up today as well with The way the cinematography and everything works for it, it is just great. I've not seen the Rob Zombie remake. I do believe I have it. I might watch that. I might not, because I don't want to ruin the mystique of the first one. And the great thing about these Halloween movies is Halloween 3, which is kind of one of my favorites, is not really a Halloween movie at all. It has no Michael Myers because the way that they envisioned Halloween, the Halloween film series, is there would be a different type of movie surrounded by Halloween every single year. And they finally did that with Halloween 3. And people were like, this is horrible. Where's my Michael Myers? This is terrible. It was like new Coke all over again. So they went back to the Michael Myers format, and there's been a lot of good ones, and there's been a lot of terrible ones, like anything else. And you think to yourself, when is it going to end? Sometimes they try to erase things and go back and everything else. Another great one is I believe Paul Rudd is in like Halloween 4 or 5 as well. So, and Paul Rudd's one of my favorite actors. So check that out. But this is something that I think live on forever. And Michael Myers lives in pop culture history big time. Not Mike Myers, not Mike Myers. Some people get that mixed up. Michael Myers lives on in pop culture history. And it's just amazing to see what is going on in this week of pop culture history as well, especially seeing a couple of movies that I liked, and then one I'm not too sure about, but a cartoon and everything else to go with it. So, like I said, that is the end of that of our little pop culture history. But you, the listener, or the viewer, can catch Let's Talk, but no politics, okay? This week in history review, like I said, every Friday at 7 p.m. on the Helium Radio Network. And if you want to hear more of my show, my other shows, you can catch those on Apple Podcast, Spotify, the BICP Radio Network, and a big shout out to the Podcast Precinct because they help me out a lot doing editing and everything else. And please go check out the Facebook page because I do these every day, plus other content as well. Not the history and review, but making the graphics, showing you what happened that day in pop culture history. And I'm also on Instagram as well. So please go check that out. A little background of what show I got coming up this Sunday is I have voiceover. We've all watched The Sandlot. We've all watched, pretty sure a lot of us has watched The Wonder Years and The Goldbergs. Who would be the voiceover of your childhood? Pick them. But then again, who would probably suit you the best other than the ones that you picked to do it? Who would you not want to do it? These are the things that I discuss with Jordan Rosario from Keeping It 100 podcast. And that is the episode for Let's Talk But No Politics, okay? And this is the first for this Sunday coming up, November 1st. So check that out. Check that out because this right here is your little bonus, little treat leading you up into my Sunday episode, which is the voiceover. But if you want to check out just This Week in History review because you want to hear what happened in pop culture history, check it out every Friday on the Helium Radio Network at 7 p.m. And also, I do believe it is archived. With that being said, I am your host, Andrew Lenz, and a big thank you once again going out to the BICP Radio Network, Helium Radio, and the Podcast Precinct for making this happen for me. And also, you, the listener, the viewer, everyone else out there. I can't do this without you. Thank you very much. And with that being said, good morning, good afternoon, And good